8:36. I know we're dealing with the state of emergency and the National Guard coming out, but let's go back to Friday. Unimaginable results and unimaginable things happened for the last 72 hours. Friday, let's go back to Ferguson and the Ferguson Market and Liquor Store that was looted Friday night. Jay Kanzler joins us, friend of the show. You're an attorney for the owners of that store.
That's right, the family that owns the store.
Oh, stores. Okay, take us through what happened Friday.
Well, on Friday, the city of Ferguson announced that they were releasing the surveillance video from a camera related to an incident that occurred the same day that Michael Brown had been shot.
Right.
And in addition, on the same day, St. Louis County Circuit Court had issued a search warrant to take the entire hard drive for the surveillance camera. Obviously, the release of the surveillance video caused tensions to rise a little bit. Many in the community thought it was ill-timed. It caused additional tensions. And therefore, for my clients who had nothing to do with the release, had nothing to do with the investigation, and have all along stood with the family and the people of Ferguson, they became very nervous that they were not going to be protected. They were assured that they would be protected, that they were not, that the county was sorry,
right,
that the Justice Department was sorry that this was happening, but they would take care of them.
Who told you that the store would be protected?
When they had indicated this, when they told them that the video was about to be released, and when they showed up with the search warrant that day for the hard drive.
Okay,
so it was various agencies.
So this was leading up to the release.
They were told that the release would happen on Thursday night.
Okay, all right.
It was released Friday morning. The search warrant was served on Friday about noon.
So back channel stuff as this was going on before it was released. The owners were told, "Hey, we will protect you. You're an innocent bystander in all of this."
That's right. They said, "Listen, this is not your fault. You have done nothing wrong, but this is more than likely going to cause some people in the community to be angry, and that anger may be misdirected towards this store."
Okay. Then Friday, it's released. You hold a news conference.
Yes.
Late Friday afternoon.
Right. Yeah. About 4 p.m. saying the store has received a search warrant. They are going to comply. They have to comply. And that I wanted to reinforce the message that that my clients had long been giving, which is we are members of this community. These are our customers. We know them on a first name basis. This is not about we're not doing this as part of any investigation. We have to comply with the law. We stand with you.
How long has that store been there?
Over 5 years.
Over 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so the news conference happens. Then what happens?
It's taking a very long time to get the warrant out of St. Louis County on a Friday afternoon, which is not uncommon. But then the story changes for my clients. They're then informed, you know what, we're not going to have anybody here on the lot Friday night. We're not going to provide you with any protection. And this was coming from the governor's office through the highway patrol. You're on your own. You should probably close down and leave.
So the highway patrol tells you Friday, we can't protect you, or we will not protect you.
A little of both. They said, we have a belief, probably a justified belief that your store will be targeted because of the release of the videotape, and we're not going to put officers' lives at jeopardy for property damage.
So you decide what?
Well, at that point, we made various calls and tried to get them to say, listen, park a car here. You have to have officers staged somewhere. Please just put some right there. Really got nowhere. Tried to reach out to the governor.
Right.
and got nowhere with that. As it turns out on Friday night, for a period of time, in fact, they did use that parking lot for some of the officers. And while the peaceful protests were going on, it worked out very, very nicely.
Now, you guys were boarded. They boarded it up, right?
Yeah, a lot of the businesses after the first looting, what was it?
Yeah, it was
Sunday
a week ago
night.
Sunday, right?
The stores went ahead and put up boards, kind of as a preventative measure. So yes, it was boarded up. When I went to bed at 10:30, things seemed to be going fine.
So at 10:30, the police are using your parking lot as some type of sort of rally point or station point or whatever.
Just kind of there.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
there were a number of cruisers.
How many cars there?
I have to depend on what I saw, but it looked like a half dozen officers.
Okay.
Just watching from that vantage point.
Right. You go to bed at 10:30.
I go to bed at 10:30. I wake up a little after midnight, closer to 1, and all of a sudden, the police officers are gone. Violence has broken out, and the St. Louis County SWAT team has come down to within 150 feet of the store right there at Ferguson, Florissant, but they are just standing there. And they had been told to stand down. Do not do anything. Don't engage the looters. And so for the next couple hours, you see St. Louis County and all of their officers just standing there. Again, I have every reason to believe they would have, moved in an instant, probably wanted to, but were being told, do not do anything.
Okay.
Let it go on.
So the police pull back, but before the looters hit the store, there are reports that some of the peaceful protesters, I think 5 or 6 of them, tried to keep the looters out of the store.
Well, the police were actually there. The police didn't finally pull back until almost 3:30 in the morning. Okay. So between 1 and 3, St. Louis County was lined up along, but they were 150 feet away. And the looting just was going on. It started slowly, and then when there was no police response to it, the pace of it picked up. It was during that period of time that so many good people, and I mean this sincerely, so many good people in Ferguson, it wasn't 5. At times, it was 25 or 35 people standing arm in arm saying, don't do this. These are our friends. This is our community. Don't let it happen. We're not letting you in. And for a while, it worked. When the county police finally were told to pull back even further, out of sight, back to the command center, that's the period of time about 3:30 in the morning where you saw that the looters at that point knew nobody was going to do anything. And if it wasn't my client's livelihood in the city of Ferguson, it wasn't just my client, it was other businesses up and down the street, they started looting with impunity. They were unobstructed, and you started seeing people fill up boxes. And at one point, I was watching my client's cash register go out the door. It was empty, but they went ahead and took it anyway.
So let me make sure I have this correctly. At some point Saturday morning, the police lined up how far away from the store?
About 150, 200 feet.
About 200 feet from the store.
Right at Ferguson and West Florissant.
And watched as the looters took over the store.
Yes.
And you saw peaceful protesters try and hold back or talk to or try and somehow protect the store.
Absolutely, giving it a valiant effort.
While the police watched.
Yes.
And this went on for
a while, till about 3 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, and that's when the county police, you watch them move the trucks away, turn around, and pull back off of Ferguson, and I'm not sure where they went, maybe back to the command center up at Lucas and Hunt.
Are you communicating with the owner at this point? Are you on the phone with them? And
well, we're watching this go on, and we're communicating back and forth, and finally decided we have to do something. They're not going to do anything for you. We have to do something. Let's go down there.
Right. So you went down there, and did you have a gun, or somebody showed up with a gun?
People down there, the store owners down there did have weapons. I don't carry a gun. But we went down to the command center, and we asked to speak to Captain Johnson.
Right.
And I asked Captain Johnson, I said, they're walking out the door with everything. Please do something. You stop them, put a car there, do something,
Right.
just to slow this process down. And I was told they would not do anything. They were not going to address the situation.
How many police officers were standing 200 feet away watching this? Was it
100?
100.
Well, whatever the force, the SWAT vehicles and
Right. So I mean, it was a large number of police officers.
right. And again, I don't. What I want to make very, very clear is, I'm not suggesting that those officers weren't ready, willing, and able
Right.
to defend the citizens of Ferguson. They were being told to just stand there.
Right.
Don't do anything.
I want you to know that I was watching Saturday morning at whatever time, and I called 911 from my couch in my house and said, I'd like to report looting going on in Ferguson. And I was told by the 911 operator, we have been told by the state troopers we are not allowed to respond. Thank you for the phone call. So when you called 911, they told you, thank you, we're not allowed to respond. So I was watching it, and I could not believe what I was watching. Mm-hmm. I mean, it breaks your heart.
So imagine your client.
Well, at that point, seeing it happen, and it was at that point that we decided we would go down. The police were not going to step in, smart or not, right or wrong. My clients and I went down to the store and took it back.
Right.
And at that point, the looting stopped. We were there. At that point, other residents, the city of Ferguson, came up and stood with us, came up and expressed their their sorrow. They apologized. We told them it's not your fault.
Right.
This is your city too. But thank you for standing here with us. Thank you for trying for the last 3 hours, not only at our store but at other stores. Thank you for doing your part. And it breaks your heart on the one hand, I mean, truly, but on the other hand, it gives you this sense of these are good people in the city of Ferguson that want to peacefully protest. It's not those folks that are doing this. They are being overrun, overridden by a group of folks that have a different agenda. And, so long as those folks are allowed to keep directing, what goes on in the evening time, we're going to continue to have the violence. During the daytime, everyone gets along, communication happens. Mm-hmm. You get to nightfall, and the other group takes over.
Yeah. What happens now? Are they going to rebuild? Have they decided?
Well, by probably noon on Saturday morning, we had the place cleaned up, and we're able to open up the doors, and they shut down for Saturday night. Fortunately, on Saturday night, they used Ferguson Market for a staging area for the press, and which was wonderful because you have all those cameras.
Well,
and,
the press
and
isn't going to defend anything.
Well, they're going to. I thought you'd be out there. No, but I mean, it provided great protection, and
Right.
there were police officers. Let
Sure.
me point that out. On Saturday night,
Right.
the police officers were on the lot,
Right.
and we were very appreciative of that, as were all the businesses around there. Again,
Right.
this isn't about just Ferguson Market; it's about that whole strip.
Right.
And then the violence broke out again Saturday night. So they closed down. They opened up for a little while on Sunday. I was down there talking
So
to
they're
them.
open for business as much as they can be.
They try. It's periodic. They don't know. The customers come in, and I was in there for an hour yesterday, interacting with the customers, watching my clients interact. I mean, again, they're like, I'm so glad you're open. I got someplace to go. I don't have to walk half a mile
Right.
to go get a gallon of milk or a soda. And then they shut down at 4 yesterday afternoon.
Right.
And then, last night happened. So it's day to day. They're losing confidence, as I think the people of Ferguson are and all the businesses are, that they're going to get, peace and calm anytime soon.
So Jay Counselor with us. He's the attorney for the owners of the Ferguson Market and Liquor Store there on Florissant and West Ferguson. So
Long term, though, what is it? Is it kind of hard to see long term what he plans to do?
Well, again, they've been in the community for 5 years. They have every intention of staying there, but you start
Somebody
to
has to
doubt.
protect them.
You start to doubt whether or not this whole strip, if things continue to escalate, you're one of the stores down the street on Friday night, they tried to burn it down.
Yeah.
And it was put out, but that's the kind of thing where if all of a sudden your building is burned or the building next door is burned and yours catches fire too, your long-term viability is gone. You can't stay.
I want to make two more points here. So you were told during the week before it was released, you people are going to be dragged into this through no fault of your own, because that's the store that's going to be in this report. We will do our best to protect you. And then when the release of the information came out, you were told directly, we're worried for your safety. We cannot protect you. Please take your valuables and go home.
Yes.
On one side is a McDonald's, a brand new built McDonald's. On the other side is a multi-billion-dollar, multinational world headquarters, Emerson.
Yes. I mean, there's lots of businesses. You go everything from a small business like my clients, or the beauty supply stores, or Sam's Meat Market, or the Quick Trip, all the way up through the McDonald's, the Dollar Generals, Emerson Electric. It is
It's one of the
community.
It's one of the saddest things I've ever seen.
The one thing, McGraw, if I could, just make the point that I don't think is particularly clear, that my clients turned over that tape, but they weren't, they feel like they were dragged into it. They didn't even call the police that day when the person that's on the tape, grabbed the cigars and had the altercation with one of the family members. It was somebody else in the store. It was a lady with their daughter in the store that saw this happening, and she's the one that called 911. So it's been a series of kind of unfortunate events for these folks who all along have supported everybody in the city of Ferguson, that they've been dragged into this by no fault of their own. Now, that's what you do as a member of a community. Sometimes that's what you have to do.
Right.
You're dragged into it, and you stand with the folks. But the investigation has nothing to do with Ferguson Market and my clients.
Jay Kanzler, attorney for the family of the owners of that store. Jay, we'll have you back often, but hopefully it's under better circumstances. Be safe out there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jay.
Good to see you all.